What's up guys, Reese here from reese3d.com. In this video we're going to build this steering wheel inside Maya. So first step, we need to bring the steering wheel image, source image, inside Maya, and in my case I'm going to use the top view as the image plane view. Okay, so we can just build it from in a horizontal pose. So let me just press spacebar in Maya to split the view into 4. And there is our top view. So the top view's view menu, I'm going to go to image plane, import image, and there I'll just paste the path where the image file is, and that's the file that I want. I'll hit open, so that comes here. Okay, so just for comfort I'm going to make it a little bigger. I'm going to select the scale tool and make it bigger right from the center. Okay, so now I can start building the shape. Now we can get different small shapes to be created and then just combine them all to make one single object, or we can also start with a torus shape and then we can just build all the other details. Okay, now if you make it with individual pieces, then it becomes a little difficult to get the exact circular shape. So I'm going to actually start with the torus, and then we can just build whatever is needed in between, right? And we can also create a torus first, and then we can just split those into different sections and still further tweak it as also. So let's just go ahead and create a torus. So it's a polygon torus. There you go. Let's increase the radius here. If you're wondering how I'm just changing these values, I'm using my middle mouse button to click and drag, so that'll get this result. And I'm going to just reduce the section radius just to see how much thickness we need. And if you take a look, I think it's the image is not exactly in the center, so just go to my top view here. I'm going to select the image plane, and we can just adjust a little bit. I'm using my move tool, and for going to the move tool I'm actually pressing the keyboard shortcut W. Okay, so W for move, E for rotate, and R for scale. So let's get back to W, and now I can actually move this a little bit. Okay, let's try to give same space in all the sides. I think that looks good. And now I can also just increase this radius a little bit more. Okay, so if it's difficult to make those changes, we can also just use the numbers directly. So I'll say 3.5 should be fine. I think it looks perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to increase the subdivision axis here. So it's 20. So let me make it 24. So that'll make it a bit more smoother. And we can actually make changes to this later as well. Okay, so subdivision height can be less, so I'll give something like 8. We get this basic shape of the steering wheel, and the proportion is going to be perfectly fine because it's a primitive that we have created. And now you can take a look at the center area. So this looks like a completely different piece, so we can actually build this, and these other sections we can extrude from the torus shape that we have. Okay, so for this shape I'm going to start with a cube. So you can see that the center area is looking like a cube, and then we have some extrudes. We can do some extrudes to create the rest of the shape there. I'll go to create and choose polygon primitives and choose cube. I'm going to make it a bit bigger. Okay, and now at this point I actually want to add one line in between so that we can actually split it into 2 different pieces, and we can just work on one side and it will automatically create the duplicate of the other side. Okay, so I can either just click these 2 guys and just move them to the center, so that's one method, or I can simply select all these edges right in the middle and press shift right click and choose connect component. So that's going to add one edge loop right in the middle. You can actually see that the edge loop actually runs along all these sides. Now all I can do is simply select one side and delete it. Done. So now we have just the one side, and I'm actually going to make it a bit smaller. Okay, now I'm actually going to push both these guys up above this ground so we get more clarity on how we are creating this shape. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to do these two extrudes. So one is going to be an extrude this way and one is going to be an extrude downwards. So I can actually select both of them and I can extrude. We can also do the extrude first and then we could have deleted one side, so that's up to you. And now you can see that these two faces are coming together. So we want to split them so that we get separate section going up and separate section going downwards. Okay, so to split it we need to go to this keep faces together options. If you have an older version of Maya, you will have to find this option somewhere inside the edit mesh. We don't have those same menus now with the newer version of Maya. So if you have older version, you need to look for this option somewhere here in this menu inside your modeling section, right? So I'm going to click on this off, so that turns it off, so we get these two different faces extruded separately. And now I can make more tweaks just by going to my top view. So in the top view, I'm going to press 4 to get the wireframe. And now you can just go ahead and right click, choose vertex, select these two vertices, just move them over here. Now when we move the center one, it's better to move exactly in Z axis only, because otherwise it'll go inside or outside. But that will create problems when we do mirror to the other side, right? So let's just pull this up like so. I'm going to pull this up as well, and this can actually go down here. Okay, so we're actually creating this this area that is in the front, and you can see that the back or the other edge loops that we create has to be pushed all the way till here. So this is just the top area or the first set of edge loops. So this can go all the way here. This can stay somewhere in between here, and this is the arc that we need to create. I'm going to push this as well down here, and this one can also be pushed all the way down here. Good. Now I'm just going to select these bottom ones. So let's select this vertex, and we can actually use these two different views just to make sure that we're just putting them in the right place. So pull this all the way till here, and this next one is going to be pushed out like so, maybe somewhere here, there you go. And this one can also be pushed back, something like that. And we can continue doing the same thing for the ones that are in front as well. So this one goes here, and this middle one has to come all the way till here. And this last one, keep in mind I'm actually selecting the ones that are in the bottom, not the one in the top. Okay, so there you go. So we get just one, we got the right side done, and we need to delete this one face because that came as a result of the extrude. I can delete that by going to face, selecting the face and deleting it. That looks perfectly fine. I can just select this and I can do a mirror for now. So let's go to edit, delete, duplicate special options, and there we have, let me just reset everything just to make sure that we're having a fresh start. And I can just start with this instance so that whatever change I do for one side, it will also affect the other side. If you keep it as copy, it will make a duplicate, but it won't change based on the changes that we're doing with one side. Okay, so now it is an instance, and then I want to decide which axis I want to mirror. So that is going to be x-axis, which is red in color. So in x-axis I'm going to give -1. Okay, hit duplicate special, so that takes it to the other side. Nice. So we get the basic shape there. And now we want to do further tweaks here. So I'm going to select that guy, press 3. So you can see that we get that shape, just the outline. I think it needs to be even further pushed down. So it needs to be more thicker. So I'm actually going to push both these guys a little bit up so that it'll be easy for us to work with. So I'm going to just select these, and these, just push it all the way up. Okay, and now I can actually select this bottom faces. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and the other 3 will be automatically selected because it is an instance. I'm going to just extrude, just push this all the way down. Nice. I can even just make it smaller, but keep in mind when you do that, you will have a little problem inside here because we did the extrude. I will have to select these guys and push them in just to make sure that we don't have that gap. Okay, now when we make the mirror, it will automatically merge. Sometimes it might not merge. That is because of the space that we have in between. So just to make sure that it merges fine, we can actually do a little bit of snap here. So I'll turn on the grid snap and I can just click and drag just like that. It will snap it exactly on the center. So that'll make sure that it gives a perfect shape there. Good. Now we want to create some more details here. So I will look at the shape here. So you see, especially here, it needs to be a bit more arced or curved. So we need to add more details here. So I will go to Insert Edge Loop tool, just click on it, drag, maybe somewhere in the middle, okay? And then at this point you need to be careful exactly which vertex you're selecting, okay? So if you get confused, you can actually go to the perspective view, check, make sure that you're selecting the right one, and then you can come back to the top view and you can make changes. Now, I have my grid snap turned on, so it is actually going to that grid area. So I can just turn that off here, just move it over. So you see it starts to get the shape that we wanted, and we can further tweak these guys as well, just to give a little bit of smoothness there. And I'll do the same thing here. So push that out a little bit, keep that there. Nice. And based on the need, we can add more details. Now keep in mind, always start with less number of faces because we can always add more number of edge loops. But if you add too many edge loops in the beginning itself, then it becomes really difficult to get rid of them if you don't want them. So always start with less number of details, just the skeleton, just the outline, and then you can start building edge loops as much as needed. So I'll add one here as well, just here in the middle. And I can further tweak this just to align to the same place. And these two as well, a little bit of movement here just to get that arc shaped up. Okay, so let's just press 3 and see how that looks in smooth mode. Okay, it's starting to get the shape. Now, we might want to have a little bit more detail here. I mean, like making it a little bit hard instead of too soft. For doing that, we need to add one edge loop that is just going this way. Okay, so let me just select the object, press Shift, right click, and choose Insert Edge Loop tool. And this time it's going to be just here. Okay, so just click and drag. There you go. Let's just smooth it out and see how that looks. Yep. Now you start to see that it has this nice little hard shape here. But you can also see that this area also gets this little curve. We don't want that. We want this to be sharp like this. We don't want this curve going here. So for that, we need to add edge loop along this direction. Okay, so I'll do that as well. So let's just select the object, Shift right click, go to Insert Edge Loop tool. Let's add one going like this. And I'll also do the same thing here. That's it. So let's check it out. Press 3. There you go. That's the kind of shape that we wanted. And we have these edges to be created the way we wanted as well. And now, if you take a look here, I think we have a little bit of sharpness over there. We want it to be more smooth. So either we can add one edge loop here vertically, or I can simply just move or slide couple of these edges a little bit to the left side so that we'll have a bit more softer or smoother result. Okay, so for doing that, I'm going to just select 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and if I press shift right click, and I can choose slide edge tool. So where it is, slide edge tool. So using the slide edge tool, I'm going to use my middle mouse button to click and drag. Okay, so middle mouse button, click and drag. So it's actually not moving the edges, but it's actually sliding them based on the other edge rings that are in the both the sides. Okay, so it'll try to have the same flow of the surface so that it's much easier compared to moving those edges by yourself. Okay, so that's it. So now we have a nice result. So I'm going to just delete one side, and then I can actually create a mirror. So that's going to finalize this shape. So here I can go to mesh. There you should be able to find mirror. So let's go to the options and reset everything. Okay, I'm doing this reset for most of the tools just to make sure that the settings that I have and the settings that you have are the same. Okay, so that you know exactly what values we need to change. Now it also depends on the kind of axes that you have for your model. It might be different, so you need to be careful on that as well. So in my case, the mirror that I want to do is based on the x-axis, so that's the red color axis. So I'm going to just leave it at x. If you have an object that is like this, for example, then you need to be doing the mirror in z-axis, so you need to be careful about that. Okay, so for my case, I'm going to just leave it as x. Everything looks fine, I guess. Let's hit mirror. There you go. So now it becomes one object, so it actually makes a duplicate, and then it also combines the shape into one single shape. So that's the advantage of using the mirror geometry tool. Okay, so let's hit 3, see how that looks. That's perfectly fine. Alright guys, so if you're enjoying this tutorial, if you can subscribe to the channel, that'll be big thumbs up to me. Thanks. So let's continue on building the steering wheel. And now I can just move down here to this shape. Okay, so you can see that the reference image shows that it's not actually curved down here. Instead, it is being flat or just straight like that. So what we can do is we can actually select all these guys, press W to take the move tool, and then pull it all the way up. You see, there you go. So let's select these guys and then move them as well. That's it. Okay, so that gets the shape that we wanted. Perfect. And now what we can do further is I can just do some extrude from here to create this shape. So I'm going to go here, and I can actually pick up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, or maybe even just these 2 sets of edges should also do, I guess. So I'm going to just deselect these. If you want to extrude all these 8 faces, you can still do that, no problem. Okay, so I'm going to just extrude these 4 for now. And if you just pull just like this, it's actually going to make it bigger. We don't want that to happen. So let's just press Ctrl Z, undo once, don't do it more than once. And you can actually go to the move tool and just move this like so. You see, now if I go to my top view, I will have more clarity on how I want to scale it and how much I want to move it further. Okay, now I can also just do some more changes here. I can just select these 2 guys, pull this up just to get that shape there. Nice. And now I can make further tweaks here. So I think it needs to be made a bit more smaller here, I guess. Or actually the inside one is being pushed out. So let's just scale it like so, just to bring them into the same line. And the top ones can be pushed a little bit inside. So I'll even select the edge here, so these two edges, and I can make them smaller. Nice. Okay, now we can add further edge loops here just to refine the shape. So you can see that it's not getting the exact shape that we wanted. So I can just select this guy, select, shift, right click, and choose insert edge loop tool. So let's just click here, add one, and then I can just push this all the way down here. Okay, and these two can be pushed even further. There you go. And these two can also be pushed further like so. There it is. And now let's just check this out. Yep, that gets the shape that we wanted. And down here in the bottom, we can actually push this down. That's up to you. You can either push it down or you can just keep it as it is, because the reference image doesn't have more clarity on this. So I can just push these two a little bit down just to match up with the shape that we have here. Or maybe even these guys, we can just push them a little bit up instead of just keeping them so down, like so. So in places where we don't have proper reference images, we can just do it based on our wish. Okay, so let's just smooth this out and see how this looks. I'm going to go to my object mode, select both of these guys, press 3, and that's it. That looks nice. And if we want, we can make further changes here. We can either make this this area a bit bigger, like this. These two can be pushed a little bit inside like so. Perfect. So now we also want to create this shape. So let me just go here, and I think I can just extrude 1, 2, and 3 of these guys. So go to face mode. So let's select these two and this one. Now keep in mind, I did not just click on those faces, I actually clicked and dragged because we need to select 2 faces here. So one and the one that is below. Okay, so if that is confusing to you, I'll just select that once again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, and I'll just do one more extrude here. Press W. Don't just push it out through the manipulator tool. I'm gonna use my scale tool just to flatten it out. Okay, and now I can just use my top view just to align these vertices. So I'll just select this vertex. Oops. Okay, so use my move tool. Just move this all the way till here. Select that. Somewhere here. Select that. Somewhere here. Select that. And this can also go all the way down here. That looks perfectly fine. And now we need to just add more details in between. Now while doing this, we also can do one more little thing. We can make the ones in the top to be a bit inside compared to the ones in the middle and the ones in the bottom. Okay, so the bottom one can also go inside like so. That's it. And this can actually go a little bit out and a little bit like so. Now keep in mind, I'm actually doing this just on one side because later we can just duplicate everything to the other side. Now let's go to the top view, and we need to create this little arc. So we need to add some more edge loops here. So let's go to insert edge loop tool, just add one right in the middle, and I'm going to scale it down. Oops, that's not looking nice. I can just select these guys, move them down here like so. Move this over here. Move this as well to this place. So let's check it out. I think I should have just extruded 2 of these instead of 3. Anyways. Okay, so it looks good for now. Let's just add a couple more edge loops. So one here. Okay. Okay. There you go. We'll add one down here. Insert edge loop tool. There you go. Just push these guys down. There it is. So now let's just press 3 and see how that looks. That is perfect. That is exactly what we wanted. And now if I go down here, I can actually add one more edge loop right here so that it will just maintain that shape that we created right here. So again, let's go to insert edge loop tool. Just click here and drag. There it is. Let's select. Press 3. There you go. To bring these guys a bit more closer to each other. So let's just check which one needs to be moved. They both look like they're in the same place, but I think this shape can be pushed a little bit out. Not the bottom one, just the top one. Now it might look like it's actually intersecting with each other, but when we smooth it, it should be matching up. So press 3. Yep, I think that's good. Nice. So now to get the same shape in the other side, we can simply duplicate it. But before that, I just want to create a little bit more detail here as well. Okay. So I think I can add a little edge loop here to create that shape. Let's just build this this shape, and then we can just create the rest of them. So for doing that, I'm creating an edge loop here. I'm just going to push this a little bit to the right side. And I need to create 2 edge loops, one on the other side, one on the top and one at the bottom. Okay, so for doing that, we have a tool called offset edge loop tool. So I'm going to select the object, press shift, right click, and there you will find offset edge loop tool. So I'll just click on that offset edge loop tool, select one edge loop, and you'll see that it creates 2 other edge loops in both these sides. So I'm going to just place him exactly where I want. So that's exactly what I want the shape to be created. And from there, I want to move this a little bit closer to. Okay, so let's say use my slide edge tool, just bring this more closer. Exactly. And now I can just double click on this. I can actually show you in the perspective view. That's much easier. So you see we have 3 edge loops total. I'm going to just select the middle one, and I'm going to scale it. So do something like that, and that should create the exact shape as if we have this little cut here. Okay, So we need to do the same thing on these other spaces as well. And we can also just create a little bit of bulge here just to get the shape of the steering wheel there. So I'll go to my front view here, and I'm going to add one edge loop. Good. And I can just simply select the vertex here, select these two vertices, push it out here. I made this steering wheel a bit smaller than it should be, so that problem is there. We could have given a little more for this radius value, but it's a little bit outside here, so that's fine. Anyways, this one needs to be pushed out a little bit, like so. And then I want to add one here. Oops, select, and then insert edge loop tool. So let's just add one here. Yep, and this one is going to be pushed in like so. Perfect. Now keep in mind, when you have this arc shape, whenever you're adding an edge loop, it's better to also adjust it to get the exact shape there. Press 3 and let's check it out. Now in this place, if you want to have more detail, you can actually add one more edge loop, so that will make it a bit more nicer as well. Now this area, we need to create the same look, so we'll repeat the same step. I'm going to press 1 here, get back to wireframe mode, and I'm going to add an edge loop. So insert edge loop tool, so add one here, and then we can use the offset edge loop tool to create two other in both sides, or if you're comfortable enough, you can do the same thing by yourself as well. So just push it a little bit like so, and then use the same tool just to add two edge loops. So either by using offset edge loop tool, or you can just create it by yourself as well. So now I'm going to double click on the center one and then make it go inside a bit. So let's check it out. Press 3. So we have a nice cut here, and we also have a nice cut here. I think this cut is a bit smaller. Maybe I'll just make it go a bit more inside. Or if needed, we can also add more edge loops. So press 3. Yeah, that looks nice now. Good. Okay, so we just have one more little thing to do here, and then we can just make the mirror to the other side. Okay, so let's go up here. So the reference image is not exactly matching up here, so we can actually create our own shape. So I will just use the insert edge loop tool here. So let's add one over here. Okay, so I think this much of thickness should be fine for that shape. Just add one here and add one here. Okay, so I'm going to just adjust that a little bit. So I'll choose the vertex here, select all these vertices, pull it a little up. Okay, and now I can just use my edge, double click on the middle one, make it smaller. Okay, so let's select the shape, press 3, so we get a nice cut there as well. Okay, so now the last step, that we're going to just delete one side. Okay, if something is left out, we can also do that. Yes, and now all I can do is just create a copy of this to the other side. Now before making this copy, we can also delete the history. We've got a lot of different history information. So let's go to edit, delete. You can even do delete all by type history. Where's that? Yes, delete all by type history. Good. And now we can go to edit, we can go to mesh and mirror. There you go. So press 3. So that gives us the final result. We've got a little bit of difference here. Maybe it needs to be adjusted. All right. So that completes this tutorial. So if you enjoyed this tutorial and it was useful to you, hit the like button and share it with your friends. Okay, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get more interesting videos like this, and also turn on the notification so that you will be updated when I post a new video. Take care guys, bye bye.